Have you ever wondered how people found calm and purpose long before our busy modern world existed? Two incredible ancient traditions, Buddhism and Stoicism, offer powerful answers. They come from different parts of the world and were created at different times, yet both provide a roadmap to inner mastery. These are not just old ideas, they are timeless tools for living a more meaningful and peaceful life. They teach us that the key to our happiness isn't found in what happens outside of us, but in how we train our minds to respond. Both paths promise a way to navigate the ups and downs of life with greater strength and clarity, showing us that we have the power to shape our inner world. Buddhism began in India over 2,500 years ago with a prince named Siddhartha Gautama. After seeing the reality of suffering in the world, he left his palace to search for a deeper truth. Through years of meditation and self-discovery, he became the Buddha, which means the awakened one. His core teaching, known as the Four Noble Truths, explains that suffering is a part of life, but it has a cause, and more importantly, it has an end. The path to ending this suffering is called the Noble Eightfold Path, a practical guide to living with wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. At its heart, Buddhism is about waking up to the true nature of reality and finding lasting peace through compassion and awareness. Around the same time, but in ancient Greece, another powerful philosophy was born, Stoicism. Founded in Athens by a man named Zeno of Citium, Stoicism taught people how to live a virtuous and tranquil life. Zeno used to teach from a public porch or stoa, which is where the philosophy got its name. The Stoics, including famous figures like the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius and the former slave Epictetus, believed that the world is ordered by a divine logic, or reason. They taught that we cannot control external events, like what other people do or say, but we can control our own thoughts, judgments, and actions. This simple but profound idea is the key to Stoic happiness and resilience. Both of these traditions emerged from a deep human need to understand life's challenges and find a reliable source of inner strength. They recognize that life is filled with change, loss, and uncertainty. Instead of trying to change the world to fit their desires, they focused on changing themselves. They developed practical methods for training the mind, whether through quiet observation or logical thinking. Their goal was not to escape from life, but to engage with it more fully and skillfully. They teach us that true freedom comes from within, by mastering our own minds and learning to live in harmony with the way things are. So, what is the central practice in Buddhism that leads to this awakening? It is called mindfulness. Mindfulness is the simple yet profound act of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. It's about noticing your thoughts, feelings, and the sensations in your body just as they are. Imagine you are sitting by a river, watching the water flow by. You don't try to stop the river or change its course, you simply observe it. This is how mindfulness works with our thoughts and emotions. We learn to watch them come and go without getting carried away by them, creating a space of calm within ourselves. This practice helps us become more aware of our own minds. So often we live on autopilot, reacting to situations without thinking. We might get angry when someone cuts us off in traffic or feel anxious about a future event. Mindfulness helps us to pause before we react. By observing our feelings, we start to understand them better. We see that anger is just a feeling and anxiety is just a thought. They are temporary, like clouds passing in the sky. This awareness gives us the freedom to choose how we respond, rather than being controlled by our automatic reactions. It is a powerful tool for developing emotional balance. Practicing mindfulness can be as simple as focusing on your breath. You can do it anywhere, at any time. Just take a moment to feel the sensation of the air entering and leaving your body. When your mind wanders, which it will, you gently bring your attention back to your breath. Each time you do this, you are strengthening your mindfulness muscle. Over time, this practice cultivates a deep sense of inner peace and kindness. It helps us connect with ourselves and others with more compassion, because when we understand our own suffering, we can better understand the suffering of others. The ultimate goal of mindfulness is to see reality clearly. By observing our thoughts and feelings without attachment, we begin to realize that our idea of a fixed, permanent self is an illusion. This insight, known as non-self, frees us from the ego's constant desires and fears. It leads to a state of liberation called nirvana, where suffering ceases. But even on the journey, the benefits are immense. We become calmer, more focused, and more present in our daily lives. We learn to appreciate the simple beauty of the moment, finding joy in things we previously overlooked. Mindfulness is a path to becoming a kinder, wiser, and more peaceful human being. Now, let's turn to the Stoics. How did they achieve inner peace? Their main tool was reason, or what they called logos. For the Stoics, reason was the ability to think clearly and logically about any situation. They believed that most of our emotional suffering comes not from events themselves, but from our judgments about those events. Someone says something unkind, and we feel hurt. The Stoics would say the words themselves are not hurtful. It is our judgment that the words are an insult that causes the pain. By using reason, we can examine our judgments and choose to see things differently, which in turn changes how we feel. The Stoics famously divided the world into two categories: things we can control and things we cannot. We cannot control the weather, the economy, or what other people think of us. We can, however, control our own thoughts, our values, and our actions. This is the famous dichotomy of control. By focusing all our energy on what is within our power and learning to accept what is not, we can find incredible freedom and tranquility. It means we stop wasting our energy worrying about things we can't change. Instead, we direct our efforts toward becoming the best version of ourselves, which is always within our control. So how does a Stoic use reason in practice? They use exercises to train their minds. One powerful technique is called premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. This means imagining all the things that could go wrong in a day. You might imagine losing your job, getting sick, or facing criticism. This isn't about being negative, it's about preparing your mind. By thinking about these challenges in advance, you rob them of their power to shock and upset you. When something difficult does happen, you are mentally prepared to face it with courage and calm, because you've already considered it and decided how you would respond virtuously. The goal for a Stoic is to live a life of virtue, which means living in accordance with nature and reason. They identified 4 key virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Every situation is an opportunity to practice these virtues. When you face a challenge, you can ask yourself, what is the wise way to think about this? What is the courageous way to act? How can I be fair to others? How can I show self-control? By using reason as their guide, the Stoics aim to achieve a state of inner calm called apatheia, which is not a lack of feeling, but a state of being free from irrational and overwhelming emotions. When we look at Buddhism and Stoicism side by side, we see they are both powerful systems for self-mastery. Both teach the importance of self-control and discipline. A Buddhist uses mindfulness to observe their impulses without acting on them, while a Stoic uses reason to question and manage their desires. Both philosophies also help us deal with the reality of change and impermanence. Buddhism teaches that everything is constantly changing, and accepting this reduces our suffering. Similarly, Stoicism teaches us to accept fate and focus on our response to events, rather than trying to control the uncontrollable. Regular practice is key to both paths, whether it's daily meditation or daily reflection on Stoic principles. However, there are important differences between them. Their view of the self is quite distinct. Buddhism teaches the concept of non-self, suggesting that our individual identity is an illusion that causes suffering. The goal is to dissolve this sense of self to achieve liberation. Stoicism, on the other hand, focuses on strengthening the self, or our rational mind, to become a virtuous and resilient individual. Their ultimate goals also differ. For Buddhists, the final aim is nirvana, an escape from the cycle of rebirth and suffering. For Stoics, the goal is eudaimonia, or a flourishing life of virtue and reason, lived well here on earth. These ancient ideas are more relevant today than ever before. In our world filled with stress, distraction, and uncertainty, both mindfulness and Stoicism offer practical tools for a better life. Mindfulness-based stress reduction is now a widely used practice in hospitals and schools to help people manage anxiety and improve focus. It helps us disconnect from our digital devices and reconnect with ourselves. Stoicism has seen a modern revival among entrepreneurs, athletes, and anyone looking to build mental toughness. Its focus on resilience and managing challenges provides a clear framework for navigating personal and professional difficulties with grace and strength. In the end, whether you choose the path of mindfulness or the path of reason, the destination is similar: a life with less suffering and more wisdom. Both traditions remind us that we have the power to change our inner world even when we can't change the outer one. They are not mutually exclusive. You can practice mindfulness to become more aware of your thoughts and then use Stoic reason to analyze them. By learning from these ancient masters, we can equip ourselves with the tools to live with greater peace, purpose, and resilience. They teach us that the journey to inner mastery is the most important journey we can ever take.